Bienvenidos a Esperanza Vence, donde la Esperanza Vence. Welcome to Esperanza Vence, where hope wins. Today we are pulling in the energies of this upcoming new moon in Taurus on the 19th of May. And, you know, there's been a lot of talk about eclipse season and the two new moons in Aries that we had. And we started out this lunar cycle with lunar eclipse in Scorpio on the 5th/6th of May. And now this is going to be the second lunation. So now we're starting our lunation cycles with a full moon, then a new moon, and a full moon, then a new moon. And then it'll switch back around, I think, when we have two new moons, two Capricorn full moons or something. I'm not really sure. I'm not an astrologer. You better ask somebody. I'm Esperanza Vence Tarot, and I do a 10-card Celtic cross reading for every new and full moon. Thank you for joining me here on Esperanza Vence Tarot. You can find me at esperanzavence.com for a personal reading. You can just click on all the links that are all over this YouTube page and beyond. I would love to see with you what energies the cards would like to talk about, and we can delve deeper into your own personal, like if I pull an astrology chart up, I can read it, but like just trying to remember all this stuff off the top of my head, since I'm not an astrologer, like I don't always remember the exact dates and times when there's going to be things happening in the stars. I'm a tarot card reader. That's my expertise. I'm also a farmer and a musician. So when I throw the astrology in, that's just me like tuning into the general weather, and it helps to inform this process for me, since I am reading for the moon, which is a luminary and a celestial body, if you will. I don't know if it's a luminary so much as it reflects, but anyhow. This tarot deck, I'm so excited about. Speaking of new everything, this tarot deck is new to me, okay? The Egyptian tarot deck. But guess what? It was made in Switzerland. Let's see. Can you see that? It was made in Switzerland. And I think I saw it on here somewhere. Yeah, look at that. 1980. I'll leave this up here if you want to. You can read all about it. I am shuffling in the energies of this Taurus new moon, but I am going to read a passage from the booklet that came with this deck. Now, this deck came to me in a really beautiful way. I read tarot cards at a local metaphysical bookstore. It's like a metaphysical bookstore, rock shop / esoteric bookstore. And they have all the tools of the trade over there for us woo-woo people. And I read there once or twice a month. And I always shop there while I'm pretty much my readings cover my shopping. I love that place, and I've always been a supporter of that place. Now that place has been around for 30 years. This tarot deck is going to have a birthday this year, because this tarot deck was born the year that I was born. So this tarot deck's about to be 43 years old. So it's interesting that this deck sort of peeked out at me that it was 1980, because that's my year. Also, the deck was $8. So that's kind of cool, because I love eights. And the person whose deck this used to be, she actually used to do tarot readings at the same place, but she passed away last fall. And a lot of her tools and decks and books ended up at the bookstore where I work. So it was kind of nifty to see this deck kind of peeking out from around the shelf, and I asked the lady that works there, whose is this? I said, is this used from so-and-so? There's another reader there who she usually recycles or upcycles a lot of her decks there. She sells a lot of her stuff there. And she said, no, that actually belonged to, so-and-so who used to read here like last year, and then she passed away this fall. And I was like, oh my gosh, this was her deck. And I picked out that deck. And I also picked out this book. I don't know if you can see it. Mastering the Tarot. It's just kind of cool because these are like books from the 80s, and that's, that's my generation. I'm a child of the 80s, and this artwork speaks to me, like the way that the things are printed. Remember when books were printed in just like these two colors? And it was interesting as I was reading the booklet, so I'll read this part to you because this was really kind of cool in the booklet of instructions here. But it says, because I've been thinking about this a lot lately too, like the origins of tarot. How did this all come about? What is this esoteric knowledge that we're tapping into? How old is it? How deep is it? Is this sort of like, how there's like a lot of ways that we take religious or other symbols to hide occult knowledge or to hide deeper knowledge or Akashic knowledge? And so I was thinking about these things, and this deck came to me probably 2 months ago, but I take a long time sometimes to I let things settle in. I let their energy settle in. I bless things, things are people too. But my things are, it's welcome in my home, and I had to give it some time to like marinate in the space, get used to me, stuff like that. I know I'm a weirdo, but I just decided that I was going to use this deck for this new moon. And so I opened it and I saw that it says this: Egyptian influences on tarot. And this, I'd come across this online a few times recently too. So that's interesting that this little booklet here from 1980 would talk about it too. But anyway, it says the oldest extant tarot cards date from the mid-15th century and were prepared under the patronage of the Visconti and Storsa families of Milan, as evidenced by the heraldic devices on many of the cards. So the first, basically, long story longer, the first tarot decks with the imagery that we're used to now, those were playing card decks. So tarot as a tool of divination didn't come around until probably 1700s, 18th century. Again, I'm not an expert, but we're going to read a little bit further, and I'm learning. By contrast, the oldest extant written references to the possible Egyptian origin of tarot cards date from the years 1781 to 1787, okay, when Antoine Court de Gébelin, writing in Monde Primitif, so a French person probably, advanced the theory that the major arcana cards of the tarot pack constituted the Egyptian hieroglyphic Book of Thoth. Okay. Saved from the ruins of burning Egyptian temples thousands of years ago. Okay, so this person posits that at least the major arcana is full of imagery from way back when, thousands of years ago in Egyptian times. The Book of Thoth, also known as the Book of Tarot and the Book of the Leaves of Gold. I think the Book of Thoth birthed the Golden Dawn Tarot, or was the Golden Dawn Aleister Crowley? Aleister Crowley, I think, did the Golden Dawn, so that was after this. So anyway, the Book of Thoth, also known as the Book of Tarot and Book of Leaves of Gold, allegedly contained the synthesis of all human knowledge and profound mysticism. Court de Gibelin devoted one entire section of his 9-volume treatise to tarot. Under the heading Du Jeu de Tarot, he declared, "Imagine the surprise which the discovery of an Egyptian book would cause if we learned that a work of the ancient Egyptians still existed in our time. One of the books saved from the flames, which consumed their superb libraries and which contained their purest beliefs regarding interesting things. Everyone would no doubt be eager to know how such a precious and extraordinary book, which is already in very general use in a large part of Europe and has been in the hands of everyone for a number of centuries, wouldn't it be the greatest surprise if we vouched that we never suspected the book was Egyptian and that we own it without really owning it, because we have never tried to decipher one page of it or to look upon the fruit of his exquisite wisdom." So basically, they go on to say that the imagery that we use on our usual Rider-Waite tarot decks, now this is a 78 card deck, but apparently this imagery could be the arcane knowledge from, one of the books in Egypt that maybe one book of knowledge didn't get burnt and they, sort of like slid these images into these cards. But it's kind of fun to think about, and it's kind of fun to wonder about. So I just thought I would share that. And we're going to pull a 10-card Celtic cross using these new to me cards for the new moon in Taurus. Tarot, tried and true. What's it say? How do it do? Help me say what I can see. Tarot, talk to me. Please show us what energies you would like to share. And thank you so much. Thank you, Joanne, for giving me your deck, for nudging me to your deck of tarot cards. Thank you for the book. Thank you for your blessings and protection so that I give good readings just like you did. Thank you. All right. New moon in Taurus. New moon in Taurus. New moon in Taurus. New moon in Taurus. What are the energies that want to speak to us? Anybody that's tuning in right now? New moon in Taurus. New moon in Taurus. Thank you. Okay, this is us. This is what's crossing us. This is in the near past. This is in the near future. This is in our conscious awareness. This is in our subconscious awareness. This is how we see ourselves in the situation. This is how others see us in the situation. Oh, my mugwort. Better blow that dust away so I don't get my beautiful cards dirty. These are our hopes and fears. And this is the likely outcome. All right, thank you for being here with me at Esperanza Vence Tarot. Let's play. You could please have some patience with me as I am not accustomed to this deck. This is the first time using this deck, and we're getting to know each other, but I'm interested to see how the deck wants to talk, and I'm so happy that you're here with me through the process. So let's just take our time and see what the cards have to say. This is us. The 2 ways reversed. This is what's crossing us, the Slave of the Cup. This is in the near past, the 9 swords reversed. This is in the near future, the Veiled Lamp reversed. This is in our conscious awareness, the Warrior of the Scepter. This is in our subconscious awareness, the scepter. Huh. This is how we see ourselves, the 3 swords reversed. This is how others see us or what our environment dictates. The 2 of pentacles. These are our hopes and fears, the reaping skeleton. And this is the likely outcome. The 8 swords. Interesting. Oh my gosh, these images are I'm blown away. My favorite, you all know, if you know me, you know that my favorite deck is this is my stuff right here, the Morgan Greer Tarot. And I love this deck because this artwork also reminds me of this era, the 80s or the late 70s, early 80s. This deck right here, man, I might end up using it. I do have a couple of like special decks. Like I was thinking this deck, and then I have another one that's really special to me, the Russian Tarot. That's another deck that's kind of like rare. This one, 1992. Yeah, so this is like kind of from the 90s too. So I almost look kind of like these older ones. I think I'm just going to use on special occasions or like when the mood hits me kind of stuff, because I almost don't want them to get worn, But I'm almost tempted to use this more because it's so cool looking. All right, the querent, us during this new moon in Taurus. Who are we? We are the 2 ways reversed. So if you know anything about regular Rider-Waite tarot imagery, and I love how they call it the 2 ways. This would be akin to, number 6 of the major arcana. What's that? That's the Lovers card, right? And it's usually called the Lovers, and in this deck it's called the 2 ways. And it's very interesting because in this deck you see, the spirit in the sky. They're about to shoot their love arrow, down towards somebody down here. Probably this character is going to get hit first. But in this card, they're not looking at each other. They're getting joined. But this card really depicts that decision-making process between the 2 ways, between the 2 paths. The masculine way, the feminine way, the holy way. What's going to bridge the divide between these, The Lovers reversed, or the 2 ways reversed, could mean that we're coming up on a decision-making process, but we need to pay very close attention to our own codependent tendencies. We need to pay very close attention to our own ability to sustain individuality within relationships. We need to make sure that we're making choices based upon not just the betterment for ourselves, but for our partnerships, for the community, for the spirit in general. When you see this card reversed as the Lovers, or in this deck as the 2 ways, we get a feeling of deep connection, deep love, deep holy, spiritual, pure love. However, it might not be a healthy love. It might be a love that, and this could be our self-love too. Our self-love, we might have to take more time to take care of ourselves. And that's not just in like a physical way, but that's in a mental, emotional, spiritual, holy way, Self-love can go from being upright to inverted when we don't take enough time to just do the basics, eat right, sleep right, do our nails after farming. You know what I mean? Like, as the querent, as us, we need to just keep on the lookout for any offers of love coming in, or any partnerships or grand decisions that we need to make. And we need to make sure that we're on top of our own personal game before we join up with any other forces, even if we do really love these people or the situation. What's crossing us? The Slave of the Cup. So in this tarot deck, instead of having pages, they have slaves. So this would be the Page of Cups for the tarot deck that we're used to, the Rider-Waite. And in this Egyptian tarot deck, it's the Slave of the Cups. So what's Page of Cups? Page of Cups is like getting in tune with our own emotional availability. And again, you know, maybe there is going to be an emotional offer. Maybe there is a soulmate connection on the horizon for us, you know, for the querent here. But as a challenge, with the Slave of the Cup as a challenge, we just need to make sure that, like, what we have on offer is of pure intent. You know, this could be that, like, you know, we might be wanting to link up with somebody, but it just might be somehow off. And when we go to give our offering as a challenge, we need to make sure that we're in control of our own emotions and that we have enough to offer somebody else. Because the page is just starting out on this journey, and sometimes they stumble a little bit before they graduate to being a knight, or I don't know what the knights are in this deck, but I guess we didn't get any. But yeah, the pages are the slaves. So as a challenge, Page of Cups, Slave of the Cup. As a challenge, we need to just get in tune with our own purest. You know, I think of the Page of Cups as like a childlike innocence when we offer our emotions to somebody else. You know, there's not something really strongly sexual about it. It's very friendly. It's very innocent. It's very childlike. As a challenge to this soulmate situation, we might need to come with a little bit more maturity, or we might need to keep our eye on our own purity. Purity and maturity, I say. In our conscious awareness, we have the warrior of, the warrior. Okay, so those are going to be the knights. Okay, so I guess we did get a knight. We got the warrior of the scepter in reverse, conscious awareness. In the upright, the warrior of the scepter, who's he? Look at him coming in all hot and fast. The rains fall, you know, it's a lot of action here. Who is that? You guessed it. That's the Knight of Wands. And I'm going to pretend that these are morel mushrooms in the front, but I don't know what those are, if those are fans waving or something, but they kind of look like morel mushrooms, don't they? Well, Knight of Wands comes in hot, heavy, fast, flirtatious. Things move very quickly. In the reverse, there's some stagnation. There's something stopping him. Maybe he's flirting in all the wrong ways. Maybe he's a little bit too aggressive, you know. The Knight of Wands in reverse, though, puts a little bit of a halt to that horse. And this is going to be a person, usually. I read knights, kings, queens. This I didn't read as a person, but it could be. If it is a person, it's a water sign. So that's going to be a Cancer, a Scorpio, or a Pisces. Could be a younger person that's bringing a challenge to our ability to have that healthy soulmate bond. In our conscious awareness, there could be somebody in our lives who is a fire sign, an Aries, a Leo, or a Sagittarius, who somehow isn't able to move as quickly as they usually do. They might not be as athletic as they usually are. They might be tired. They might not have that sort of active motivation that a lot of fire signs usually get things started. This could be somebody who's like not able to get things started right now. They're somehow stagnated. In our subconscious awareness, we have the scepter, the wand. So that's like the Ace of Wands. So in our subconscious awareness, what's driving this entire story is a need for newness and creativity, sexuality, any type of like sacral chakra activities, orange, you know, anything that's driving our ability to create or co-create. This is sort of like at the base of this entire story. Now, this could be something that has reverberated throughout our childhood up till today. This is our subconscious awareness is like patterns, generational patterning even, that brings us to today, to this new moon, to this story today. But underlying this entire story is the reverberations of our own Ace of Wands. So when have we received a creative gift that set the fire under our butts to get this entire story going. That's our subconscious energy. In the near past, we have the Nine of Swords reversed. So Nine of Swords upright in the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, you usually see somebody sitting in bed in the middle of the night and they have their hands on their face like they were crying or worried about something, and their thoughts just... Swords always represent thoughts. Cups represent emotions. Swords represent thoughts. Pentacles represent like money. And wands represent like creativity, sexuality, action. Now, I just did a video actually recently on my YouTube channel here. If you want to scroll down on my homepage, there is a playlist called Learn Tarot, and I just recently did a video that kind of delineates how I read anyhow. And if you want to learn how to read like I do, you could watch these videos, because this is how I interpret the cards, and this is what I've learned about the cards talking to me for the past 22 years. There's a lot of people out there that have been talking to the cards for a lot longer than I have, but these are the vibes and energies that I've received throughout the years talking to different decks of tarot, and the symbology that I have been able to pick up, I am trying to lay down so that other people can learn from my interpretations and potentially learn how to read tarot as well. Hopefully this will build to me teaching on a larger scale, but for right now it's giving me a good opportunity to get to know the cards better myself, and also it's giving me an opportunity to teach in bite-sized little bits of information so that it helps me and it hopefully helps any of you out there. But I just made a video about the different elements of pentacles, swords, cups, and wands, and if you want to learn a little bit more about that, you can click on that video. It's just 60 seconds. I just do those little short videos to give you a taste, you know. And then if we want to go into a deeper dive of what these cards mean, because I mean, I could go on and on. I could go on and on, you know, for 45 minutes on one card, but I just tried to synthesize the information to bite-sized pieces that are easy to access for you and for me, so that we have a little reference guide to get us going, at least in the beginning. But the Nine of Swords upright is usually a card of like being up at night, insomnia, worry, letting your thoughts run away, letting your thoughts control the ship, you know, being overwhelmed by thoughts. And in the near past here, we have the Nine of Swords in the reverse. So there might have been a time where we had to put an end to our struggling with our own thoughts. We maybe had to take control and say, listen, I'm just going to go to bed now. I'm just going to have that extra glass of wine and pass out, and I'm going to worry about stuff later. So in the near past, within the past 2 to 3 months, I'd say, past couple of lunation cycles or so, we've been able to let down our worries. In the near future, we have the Hermit reversed. Oh, I'm sorry, the Veiled Lamp. Not the Hermit, the Veiled Lamp. Okay, so the Hermit upright, what is this? This is a card of solitude. This is a card of going off on your own to the top of the mountain to gain your knowledge. And then once you are illuminated inside that lamp, it's represented by the star, that illumination, that hope, that knowledge, that confidence in your holy knowledge. You know, once you've attained that knowledge, you can either choose to stay where you're at or come back down the mountain into the town and share that knowledge with the people. With the Hermit reversed, that time is coming to a close pretty soon. Pretty soon we're going to have to just get out there into the world. We're done meditating. We're done learning. We're done researching that path right now. Now it's time within the next couple, and that makes sense because it's getting into summer. It's kind of go time. It's action time, you know. I farm, so a lot of times my motion or my immobility is very dependent on the seasons and the ground and the rain and like what's happening seasonally in the northern hemisphere where I exist. So it would make sense that at least if these cards are speaking to me personally, that within the next couple of months, I'm going to have to, and a lot of us that are tuning in are probably going to have to move out of our hermit phase of like being home, doing our own personal research, doing our own personal development. And that time is over soon, and we need to just get back out there into the community and either share our knowledge with others or at least have some sort of exchange with other people, maybe team up, find other people who are hermits maybe throughout the winter, and we team up and do projects together, or, you know, but this is definitely the time coming up here within the next couple of months, from now till like July, that the time of, you know, sitting at home in solitude and that you know, deep inner reflection is coming to a close, and now it's time to either share our info with somebody else or maybe learn some new things. How do we see ourselves in the situation? The Three of Swords reversed. Three of Swords upright is again, the swords represent our thoughts, and usually thoughts that can consume us. Three of Swords upright, it's usually a bleeding heart, but that's pierced 3 times. So it's a card of heartbreak. It's a card of like thinking about heartbreak, whereas the Five of Cups is usually a card of sorrow and actually crying over the spilt milk, you know. Three of Swords is like the thought of the heartbreak, like letting those thoughts like consume you. Three of Swords reversed means that we're on a healing path. Our heartbreak, our major heartbreaks that sort of inform our psyche, are being put to the side. A lot of this stuff is in the reverse, you know, so there's going to be a lot of turnarounds in these type of energies, you know, the Lovers, the Veiled Lamp, the Two Ways, the Veiled Lamp, the Warrior of the Scepter, you know, all the Nine of Swords reversed, the Three of Swords reversed. Like, if we've been having those energies in our life, it's time for a turnaround. You know what I mean? How do other people see us, or what does the environment dictate? The Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles, I believe that most of us watching this video are probably familiar with the Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles is usually depicted with a character in the front of the card juggling the Two Pentacles. And as they're juggling, there's an infinity symbol showing the motion of having to balance this precarious dance of, you know, a hustle and a side hustle, or a work life and a home life, or, you know, a relationship and a family, or, you know, one friend and another friend, or, you know, just having to juggle 2 situations. Maybe you're dating somebody, but you're kind of dating somebody else. So you're kind of juggling, like, you know, you're just juggling, you know. Eventually, you know, this is a precarious situation, because, I mean, as much as we can juggle things for a while, we can't do it forever. You know, I'm juggling a few jobs right now. I always have a few jobs, and I would love to bring it down to 2, you know, so that I'm just juggling like this and that. Or I would love to just juggle within one realm of my life instead of having like 3 realms of my life that I have to juggle. It would be nice to have one realm of my life and just juggle within it, you know. I would love, if you want to help me out, anybody who's watching this, it would really be lovely if you have the time or the inclination, if you would like to book a tarot reading with me, because what the goal is for this tarot to become a stronger force in my life, to be able to help you, help me, help you sustain ourselves, you know? Because this is the kind of situation that it works for now for most of us, but we can't keep up that dance forever. Eventually we're gonna have to set a ball down and take a rest. What are our hopes and fears? The Reaping Skeleton. Well, what do you think that is? That's the death. And I think a lot of people fear death. I fear dismemberment more than I fear death personally, but a lot of people hope for and fear for the same thing. So like I was talking about here, like I'm hoping to drop something so I don't have to juggle so much just to like barely live, you know? So I could hope for one of these projects to die off, but I could also fear that. You know, I don't know if you can relate to that too. Like, we could hope for a final die-off. We could hope for a final ending in some aspect of our lives, but we could also fear that ending as well, because it is permanent. That ending is permanent when we see the death card come through. When we see the reaping skeleton coming our way, we know it's final. Okay? So this is a hope and a fear of ours. And the reason that that position, again, I have another video about that in my Learn Tarot playlist, but it explains in the Celtic Cross Tarot, you know, I explain the positions and what each position means, the meaning of the positions. And the reason why this is in the hopes and fears position is because sometimes we hope for and fear the same things. Or when we get what we hope for, we don't know what to do with it. We're afraid of what we're going to do with it. The likely outcome is the Eight of Swords. So Eight of Swords is usually a card of, again, we have a lot of swords in this reading. We have swords, we have wands. We only have one cup and one pentacle. So, and we have three major arcana, the Lovers, the Hermit, and the Death card. So those are going to hold a little bit of a stronger energy throughout this reading, but the Eight Swords is a card of letting our own thoughts bind us to a situation and not realizing that if we change our mind or if we change the way that we think, that we can cut ourselves free from a lot of what's been holding us back. So in the likely outcome, we need to be aware that we might be the ones that are holding our own selves back, and we need to take control and take charge of our own thoughts and have more power and control of how we let our thoughts dictate our reality. So that's what I have for this new moon in Taurus. Thanks for tuning in with me and learning more about this new deck with me. I think that was a pretty exciting time for me. It gets pretty exciting around here in Wisconsin, reading tarot. I'm pretty excited about that. But it was fun for me to learn this deck a little bit more with you, whoever you are. Why don't you leave a comment and let me know who you are? I know that some of you are watching, but I'm not exactly sure who you are. I know who some of you are, I think, but it would be really cool if you get a chance to leave a comment under the video and let me know what this new moon is bringing to you. And thank you so much again for tuning in. EsperanzaVence.com is where you can schedule a reading, and I hope to speak with you real soon. Otherwise, we'll see each other, or we'll do the video again in 2 weeks for the full moon. All right, peace.